Everybody, it's Lynette Chandler from Thrive Anywhere. So today I want to come on here to share with you how to create journal lines really quickly in Affinity Designer. And I am very new to Affinity Designer. In fact, I think I did just one live stream before with Affinity Designer, and it was so bad that I really basically just deleted it. And I figure I'll just try again. And I figure, I have to learn the software eventually. I'm very used to Adobe InDesign, but I know Affinity Designer is a much more affordable option for a lot of you who follow me. And I figure I might as well learn it. And if I'm going to learn it, I might as well show you all the blunders that I'm making. And basically, we'll just learn together, right? Okay, so I found I have to say a lot of these things that I do, I'm carrying forward from my experience with Adobe Design InDesign. So I'm gonna fumble. I'm gonna not know where things are, and I'm gonna not know how to set certain things because naturally it's a different program. But a lot of what I see here on Affinity Designer is already, there are a lot of similarities that we can carry over. And what I'm going to show you today is pretty much how I do things in Adobe InDesign as well for my planners and journals. And basically I'm recreating it inside Affinity Designer. Now, if you don't know me, here's a little bit of housekeeping. Head on over to thriveanywhere.com and go ahead and grab that free planner that's right there on the home page, and you'll be notified by email next time I have any more classes like this. I'm not even sure I'm able to continue doing classes like this, but that's one of my goals. And if you really want it, let me know in the comments below. Hit the bell button and subscribe if you're on YouTube, or go to my site, subscribe to my newsletter, let me know. All right, just let me know if you want any more of these. But very quickly, I'm going to turn my screen over from my video camera over to the camera onto my desktop. And what you should see here really is my Affinity Publisher. Actually, sorry, I keep saying Designer because I'm so used to using Designer in my iPad, but I'm talking about Affinity Publisher. Okay, so apologize for that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start like with any new project for any new planner and journals. I'm going to start with a new document, and I'm going to select letter, and very quickly here you see it's giving me like different options that I want to do. I'll keep it at 300 because a lot of my planners and journals, I know some of my customers like you maybe are going to upload it into for print, so that's a pretty good DPI to go with. I'm going to keep everything as pretty much basic as it is right now. Oops, I just changed the margin. And the margins are really large in Designer by default, and I really don't like them that large. I'm just going to put everything as a flat ½ inch all around. And for this project, I'm not going to include any bleed, so I'm going to click Create. So I've got this little nice box here with a margin, and I already have a master page set up. Now the way I have it is I have facing pages, and I'm starting with a art page, which is the first page. So the first page is always a cover, and that works just the same like it would in InDesign. So if I add a new page, let's say I add 2 pages, and after that you will see that it actually comes in as a spread like this. So it actually mimics what a real book looks like. Your cover page, and then you got a left page and a right page immediately after, just like in a book. And usually in a book, this page right here, page 2, is blank. And then this, you would have either a note, a foreword, or like in a case of journal and planners, you would have maybe like a to and from, a little intro. And usually when I start a new project, I just double click on this and it will bring me back up here. I will leave the cover blank until I can kind of figure out what I want to do for the cover. Of course, sometimes I often have a color scheme in mind, so I would go with that. Sometimes though, I will start with the cover first. And for me, if I do that, it's a little difficult because I find covers are the hardest to design. And I don't know, but for me, the covers are just the hardest to design. But generally, I would put some text here so that I know that this, usually it's the title of my book or my planner. I'll just put something here so that I know I can come back to it, and I'll just leave that. And now I'll just work with the color scheme for the other pages and the design and so on and forth. But over here, today's topic, I just want to reel it right back in. The way I create journal lines in InDesign is basically to use tables. Now, in InDesign, you can use another option. I think it's like lined. I can't even remember that option because I don't use it that much. Because I find that it's not as versatile. I just prefer using tables instead. So I thought, why, if is there a way to recreate that in Publisher? And sure enough, it is. And I was playing with it a little bit yesterday, and I found it to be quite versatile. So let me go ahead and click this. Actually, this icon right here, it's actually a table icon. So I'm gonna click that. I think it's a table icon. Yep, table tool. And the way it works is a little weird. So it doesn't give me, like in Adobe, it gives me the option to enter how many rows and columns I want. But in Affinity, see, when I start creating, as I get bigger, it just adds lines. Like if I get more horizontal, it adds lines. And if I add, if I go vertical, it adds lines. And if I go horizontal, it adds columns. So in a way, that's kind of nice, but it's also a little annoying. But I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. I'm just going to, because I only want one column, I'm going to do that. And now I have 47 lines, which I probably don't want that many. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to, I think on an average letter page, you can probably maybe fit in 29, 30 at most. So I'm going to keep it at 30. And I'm going to, what I did was I clicked on the row heading right here, hit the shift key on my computer, and then click the last row. And then I'm going to right click and see what it does here. It says merge cells. No, I don't want to merge, but let's try and see if I can just hit delete key. Nope, that did not do it. So let's try this again. Let's go all the way down and delete rows. So I actually have to right click on the row headers, and I'm going to click delete rows or whatever they call it. I'm not sure what Affinity calls it. And then now, after I have clicked on the move tool, let's try and see if I can resize it without adding rows, and I can. So whenever you are in a table tool, if you resize it, then it will add rows. If you're outside of the table tool, which means you gotta hit either the V tool or the move tool, then you won't add rows. So I want it to span maybe, I don't want to go all across, so I'm going to do it like that right in the center. Now, what you see here though is a whole table with lines over the sides, which I don't want. So the nice thing is that, and this is a similar thing that I do in InDesign, is I go and create my table styles. So I'm going to hit this table here, and it's going to say show table format. I'm going to click that. Now the table format here is default. I can double click it and I can change it any way I want, and I can rename it here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, I'm going to modify this. right? And I'm going to call it Demo 1. And Demo 1 is just going to be plain lines. And in here, it shows me a few things, the cell formats, what can be in them, and this actually shows me how it's set up. And I think I can like move this back and forth, although I'm completely unclear yet at the moment how those work. But maybe when I figure it out, I'll do another video. But what I have figured out here is that in this whole, I'll just go ahead and select the whole thing. In here, I don't want, let's just, the borders outside, you see where it's selected borders and color here? I don't want anything here, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, and click no borders. And then I am going to click inside as well, and it does have something here, so I don't want that. I'm just basically going to make everything empty, okay, for now. And then I'm going to click apply style to selection and click OK. So now you see when I click off it, the table is not there, but the table is there. See, now I click on it, it is there. So basically what I've done is I've cleared off all the lines, the borders, and the lines inside. Now I'm going to go back in here, right? And I am going to do this one, all horizontal lines. I'm going to click that one, and then I'm going to give it a line. So if I want a solid line, I will do that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not entirely sure about this one. I think if you're doing KDP, you must have a minimum of 0.75 points. So I'm going to put 8 points here, because 0.8, sorry, not 8. And if you want to, you can change the caps. I'm not going to do anything like that in the meantime. And then you can change, how the coloring of this. And you can actually see it kind of happening here in the background. Like if I change this, you can see the lines have turned red, but I just want a gray, maybe a light gray over here. Yep. And I think that's good. And then I'm going to do that. And now if I click off it, you can see, ta-da, all these beautiful lines on there without me having to rewrite everything one by one. How gorgeous is that? And the nice thing about doing it this way is that if you want to change something, you can really do it like fast, the styles and the design. Now, what if, and usually when I start a journal or planner, I will bring in styles from a different document. So what you can do really is you can actually use this file. If you're following along, you can actually use this file as your template file for all the lines that you're going to create, that you can just open up and pop into a different planner that you're working, just do it, use it over and over again. So now that I've got a plain lines, I am going to copy over. I just hit what I did. Okay, so that's nice. That works just like in InDesign. What I did was I held down to my Alt or Option key, which I don't think they have it on Windows, I'm not sure. And then I dragged it, so basically it creates a copy. So now I'm going to create a copy here, and over here I am going to see if I'm going to create a new, okay, let's see if I can duplicate this instead. No, okay, so I can't duplicate this yet. Can I edit copy? Maybe I can. So edit copy, so basically it did copy. So now I'm going to do demo 2, and I'm going to do dotted lines, because sometimes I prefer dotted lines. In fact, a lot of times I prefer dotted lines. And this one, instead, I'll just select that and change it to dots. And because they are dots, I might want to make them either darker. I don't know. I'll just keep it as is for now, and I'm going to click OK. Now, if I click off it, you might see Okay, let me, okay, there we go. So you see these are lines and these are still lines. So why did it not apply? Well, basically because I didn't check the box that says apply to selection. So if you happen to do that, it's very easy. What you can do here is we're going to click select, and then over here on here, let's click it. See? Click the style over here, and instantly you will see that it has turned into dots. So now I have styles for a you know, flat solid, and I have styles for dotted dash, or you can also create dashed lines, and usually I think that's good. I like dotted lines a lot. So, and then this will be your template file that you can reuse again and again. Okay, so let's do something else because I did something before. Let's do something different here. Let's add a page. Let's add 2 pages here because it goes by spread. And this time I am going to, okay, let's go back up here and we'll copy this. I just did Control V or Command V and paste it down here. So now I'm going to do something else. I am going to start fresh with a new table format. Let's see if I can create a new table format. Add format, create new format. And the reason why I want to do this is because I want to start fresh, right? So I'm going to double click that style, and I'm going to say I want to have maybe alternating rows with perhaps a shading for each alternate. So I'm going to put alternating rows. So here is where things are going to be a little different. So I'm thinking alternating rows. The first row I want it to be, so this is my first cell. I will want it to be, let me fill it with, let's say, a light. Let's just, I'm not really into pinks, but let's just do a light pink here. Make it even lighter. Okay, really light. And I guess if I want to, I can change like the opacity to make it even lighter, but I'm gonna keep it as that. Okay, and for this I don't want any lines, so no lines, because I think the alternating will be, you know, it will show where my lines are. Okay, I think we're good. So make sure I have no lines here, no lines horizontal, no lines vertical. I have no lines, but I do have a fill. And I have a fill. Yep, I do have a fill, just making sure here. Yeah. So as you see here, this little like demo here, it will show you that it's filled up, but I want to create alternating, not all of them. So what I do here is I'm going to add another cell format, and this is format 2. In fact, I'm just going to odd. Maybe I'm going to name that odd, and I'm going to name this even. And I don't think it will, I think it will go by whatever I put in here. Okay, odd and even. And again, I make sure that I have no lines, no lines, no lines. And then this time the fill, I'm just going to bring it all the way down to white. And now I'm going to select this row and set it as even. Okay, now we'll see how that works. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. Now let's see if that works. I'm going to select this table and I'm going to click on alternating rows. Okay, let's see. Apply alternating rows and overwrite. Nope, that did not work either. Apply alternating rows. That didn't work either. Whoops. What did I do? So what is happening here? I'm going to click. So now I'm going to select that. I'm going to click apply style to selection, style, table body. Okay. So I wonder why this time around it would not let me change it like it did for the other one. That is something really interesting. So let's see here. Let me do here, edit copy. I wonder though. Let me double click and make sure that I've got it right. Maybe I fill the frame. I don't want to fill the frame. I don't want to fill the strokes. Apply. Okay, that is crazy, isn't it? Okay, so let's not do that. Let's try something else. Let's try creating new. Okay, 31 rows this time, and select that. Apply to selection. That still did not work. Or maybe because I was in table mode. Now that is weird. What am I doing differently? See, when I told you we're learning together, I wasn't kidding, right? Apply alternating rows. Now let me go back to the previous ones and see. Okay, that's still dotted lines, and if I click on that, it still gives me solid lines, and if I click on that, oh, I know why it did apply. It's just that the colors are so light. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna change that back to dotted lines. So that was my fault. So I'm gonna go back here and double click here and go into, whoops. Okay, I'm gonna go back here, make that larger. Oh, that will teach me to change, to use such light colors in a demo. Okay, I'm going to double click it so that I can look at it again. So now my art is filled with a super light pink. I'm just going to make it as, I think that might be a little dark. Let's see if I can go with swatches, colors. Yeah, for demo purposes, maybe I'll have to do something. Woo, too much. So, see, it did apply. No, maybe I'll go for gradients. No. Let's do something. Let's write that. Okay. Now I have a starting base. Maybe I can come back in here and change it to something lighter, like that. Maybe. There we go. There we go. That works. And I'm gonna click OK. Whoops. Now, see what happened here? So instead of actually true alternating lines, it actually has two double pink lines. Now, why is that? Now, again, if that's what you want to do, that's perfect. But I want actual alternating lines. So where do you think we went wrong? Well, you see here, it's got 3 rows. So I wonder, how am I going to add a new? Can I enter? No. Oh, maybe. I wonder. Okay, there we go. I changed it to this one. All I did was, see, I clicked this and now it changed that, and I click that and it's changed again. So that's how it works. So basically it looks like it's telling it that the alternating starts, like these two is where the separator is, and you basically alternate only 2 of them. That works. There we go. So now I've got really pretty alternating rows for my planner, and I am pretty happy with that. All right, so I hope you enjoy all my blundering and so on and forth, but I also hope that you learned something new, and let me know if you want to kind of see me make all the crazy mistakes, and we learn together how to make the most use of Affinity Designer for your planners and journals and printables. I will catch you next time. Do not forget, if you are not following us yet, you either hit the bell button to subscribe on YouTube, or like us if you're watching on Facebook, and head on over to thriveanywhere.com and pick up that free planner if you haven't already. I'll catch you the next time. Bye bye.